Hello, Internet. Today I want to talk about something that kind of scares me, honestly. I have a lot of anxiety around making this video, and I'm hoping that I can share vulnerably kind of what's going on for me in an attempt to try to build some bridges here. Because the topic I want to talk about today is cancel culture, or call-out culture, as it's also known. I was reading a book recently by Adrienne Marie Brown called We Will Not Cancel Us. And I found it really interesting and insightful. And in the book, she kind of draws maybe contradictions, I guess, between sort of social justice cancel culture and prison abolitionism as a movement, because abolitionism seeks to treat every human life with value and not treat people as disposable, whereas cancel culture, this sort of guilty by association aspect of it, can cause people to throw one another under the bus, or to sort of like disassociate from someone out of fear that their canceling will rub off on you. And it's just gotten me thinking a lot about like the future of the left and how our tactics might have to change as we kind of enter this new stage of like capitalist decay. I feel a lot of hesitation in making this video because I don't want it to come off like I'm chastising people or telling them that they can't express their anger. Anger is precious to me. Anger means that something is hurting inside of you, and I want to know what's hurting inside of people. I want to hold anger with care and all of the needs that are going unmet underneath that anger. I also want to hold with care. And I want to create a space where those needs under the anger can get heard. Because when we are relying on these sort of familiar patterns of communication that we get through things like Twitter or Facebook interactions, or through even, like maybe dinner table interactions of the sort that a lot of us kind of grew up with that can be really uncomfortable at times. I think that those can all be really alienating from what's going on in sort of the deeper levels, like underneath our anger. And then when those needs aren't met, when those feelings aren't seen or heard, we kind of entered this triggered state, and like a lot of us tend to get more angry, and that often doesn't help. Although sometimes it can help us get our needs met. Like sometimes anger is what you need. I've had anger help me get out of unhealthy relationships because I was so scared to talk about my feelings that nothing other than anger was able to sort of bring it out from, how deep it had been buried under all these layers of shame. And I think that when we are interacting out of anger in these situations, we're kind of buying into a philosophy of behaviorism that to kind of justify our actions. It's this sort of like, well, I don't want this behavior to go unquestioned. I don't want this to be normalized. I care about this issue. I want to stop it from being, spoken or unchallenged. And we end up having these interactions that don't, like, yeah, we might call someone out on something, but if we're not sharing with them, like, the hurt in there, if we're just sharing the anger, I feel worried that we end up relying on shame. And, we live in... sit on a tire swing because that walk wasn't... oh my gosh. Walk wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. So now you're spinning with me. Hope that isn't too disorienting. Oh, that's very disorienting already for me. Okay, we're going to stop spinning. But when we're relying on shame to try to change minds, we're not understanding the barriers that are in people's ways. And I saw a lot of this as a teacher. Our education system really heavily leans on shame as a motivator, and it just doesn't work. Like, giving students bad grades doesn't make them get better grades. That's not how that works. You gotta, investigate what's going on. What are the barriers? Why isn't this connecting for students? And in the case of, call-out culture, cancel culture, those things are really scary, and, sharing them, I mean, I don't want people to think that I am shaming them for responding out of anger, because, honestly, it is kind of bullshit that you can't just be angry and have things get better. I connect with that. I really wish I could be angry at capitalism and have capitalism go away, and be angry at all of these marginalizing forces and have that anger single-handedly make them go away. I really long for a society where we can meet people who are in a dysregulated state with curiosity and compassion and warmth, so that we can have those transformative conversations that really let people know what's hurting in us in a way that is tender and gentle. And I don't know, I guess I've seen a lot of anger on both sides of this sort of issue of cancel culture, of this idea of the people who have canceled people and the people who have been canceled. And it's like, I really would like to just extend some empathy and care to both of them, to both of those peoples, because I know that you're all hurting. The world hurts. It's a rough place. And I'm sorry that this is the world that we have. I really long for something easier and gentler and sweeter. And I'm taking the baby steps towards it in the ways that I know how. Mostly by crying into cameras because, you know, I'm a soft boy TM. There's a pretty sunset. I'm gonna rotate so that people can see it. Except it does not show up on my phone at all. What if I cut my hand over it? No, then you just see a little bit of my hand in the shot. All right, well, you'll just have to take my word for it. It's a very pretty sunset, and it's soothing my nervous system. Thank you all for listening to me. I hope you have a sweet evening. Ugh. Goodbye.